Welcome to The Explainer. All right, let's get right into it. We've got a real head-scratcher in the crypto market today. You've got stocks absolutely flying, hitting new highs, but then you look at Bitcoin, and it's kind of just stuck. So we're going to break down exactly why that's happening and what it could mean for the whole crypto world.
And yeah, this is the big question, right? Because on the one hand, you have the traditional markets just booming. I mean, things are looking great over there, and that usually means good things for crypto. But then the biggest name in the game, Bitcoin, seems to be hitting a brick wall. So what gives? Let's really dig in and see what's going on under the hood.
Okay, so to figure out what's up with Bitcoin, we're actually going to take a little detour. We have to start outside of crypto and look at the good old stock market. Because believe it or not, these two worlds are tied together by investor mood and, where the big money is flowing.
And what we're seeing right now is just wow. The US stock market is on an absolute tear. The S&P 500 is just pushing higher and higher, hitting new records. And what that tells us is that investors are feeling confident. They've got a risk-on attitude, meaning they're ready to put their money into assets that have higher growth potential. Now, usually when the stock market is this hot, it's great news for crypto. You know that old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats? Well, that's exactly it. That good feeling, that extra cash sloshing around in the stock market, it tends to spill over into other places, like Bitcoin. So everything seems to be lining up perfectly, right? Stocks are up, investors are feeling good. This should be the perfect recipe for a huge crypto rally. But, and this is a big but, that's not exactly what's happening. That positive story, it's missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. All right, let's pivot and zoom in on Bitcoin itself, because this is where things get really interesting. Even with that powerful tailwind from the stock market pushing it forward, there's a massive obstacle standing right in its path. Something big is holding it back.
And we're seeing a really clear pattern here. Every single time Bitcoin musters the strength to push higher, bam, it gets knocked right back down. It's like it's hitting a solid steel ceiling that it just can't seem to break through.
So, in the world of trading, there's a name for this kind of ceiling. It's called resistance. And all that means is it's a price point where, historically, a whole bunch of sellers jump in and say, nope, not going any higher. They create this wall of selling pressure that's super tough to get past.
And for Bitcoin, that magic number, the one everyone has their eyes glued to, is right around $94,000. Yep, 94K. This is the battleground. According to this analysis, whatever happens at this level is probably going to decide where Bitcoin goes next.
So what you have now is this incredible tug of war. I mean, it's fascinating. You've got really strong arguments on both sides. It's setting up that classic showdown. The bulls, who are betting the price will go up, versus the bears, who are convinced it's headed down.
So let's play this out. What's the case for the bulls, and what's the argument from the bears? Let's break down what each side is seeing. Okay, so if you're a bull, you're feeling pretty good about a few things. First, that roaring stock market we talked about, that's providing a ton of positive energy. Plus, on the charts, there's this little short-term pattern forming that looks kind of like a W. And when you see that, it's often a sign that the selling pressure is running out of steam and a comeback might be on the way.
But hold on, because the bears have some serious ammo too. The biggest thing for them is how hard the price is getting rejected from that $94,000 wall. It's not just tapping it, it's hitting it and bouncing off hard. And on top of that, there's this longer-term warning light flashing called a bearish divergence.
So what on earth is a bearish divergence? Well, it's a really important signal for traders. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine you're driving a car up a steep hill. You're still moving forward, making new highs, but you can feel the engine starting to sputter and lose power. That's a bearish divergence. The price is going up, but the momentum, the power behind that move is getting weaker. It's a huge red flag that the whole trend could be running out of gas.
Now, Bitcoin's big fight doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? This tension has ripple effects. So let's take a look at how all this is impacting some of the other major players in the crypto space, the altcoins.
You know, one really interesting thing happens when Bitcoin just goes sideways like this. Its share of the total crypto market, what we call its dominance, starts to drop. And when that happens, it can be a sign that money is moving out of Bitcoin and looking for action elsewhere, which can give other coins, the altcoins, a real chance to pop.
But here's the catch. Even though the stage seems set for all coins, we're seeing the same story play out almost everywhere. You look at Ethereum, and its momentum is starting to fade. Then you look at Solana and XRP, and guess what? They're also slamming into their own big resistance walls, almost perfectly mirroring what Bitcoin is doing. It's like this invisible ceiling is stretched across the entire market right now.
Okay,
So we've got bulls, we've got bears, we've got mixed signals all over the place. So what happens next? What does the analyst think we should be watching for in the very near future?
Well, the analysis lays out a pretty clear three-step game plan. First, expect things to cool down a bit, to stabilize and trade sideways for a little while. Step 2, get ready for another charge. Bitcoin is very likely going to go back up and challenge that $94,000 wall again. And then, step 3, this is the big one, the signal we're all watching for is a confirmed daily price close above that level. If that happens, it's game on for the bulls.
And that's really what's at stake here. Because if Bitcoin can finally break through and conquer that 94K level, then the next stop on the map is that massive psychological target everyone talks about, $100,000.
So that's where we are. The big takeaway is that the entire crypto market is balanced on a knife's edge. This fight at $94,000 isn't just another tick on the chart. It feels like a major turning point for the whole market. So the question we're all left with is this just a little pause to catch its breath before the next epic surge higher? Or is this the final warning sign before a major fall? That right there is the billion-dollar question.